Hello, I'm Pickaxel and welcome back to another Minecraft 1.9 video. Today I'll be talking about dual wielding in Minecraft 1.9. This is perhaps the biggest feature that has come to the game in the past several years, and a lot of people are quite honestly confused by it. So I figured what I'd do is I'd give you one more explanation of how it works on the PC, but also how it will work on the console and how it could work on the Pocket Edition in the future. And then also I'd talk about the best combinations you can use for it, because there are some really powerful combinations of two different things, and I thought it'd be cool to go through some of the best ones. So that's what we're doing today. Hopefully you do all enjoy the video. If you do, please do like it and let me know, because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me know you do like these little Minecraft 1.9 tip things. Anyway, yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we, by starting and talking about exactly how dual wielding works, because again, this confuses a lot of people, and I know it's obvious to some, but it does have that little element of confusion, especially when you think about how it works on a console or like a PS Vita or something like that. So let's just explain it briefly so you know why all of these combinations work and why, for instance, a sword and an axe won't work, because the first combination you might think with dual wielding is, let's get two swords and attack that way. It does not work this way, because dual wielding basically makes it so that items which only work when they're in your, basically when you left click with them, so when, for instance, you hit people with a sword or when you break blocks with an axe, they can be used on your right hand slot as your main. And then when you use these items, because the sword doesn't block anymore, it means you kind of have a wasted right click, right? That's right, unless you have a dual wielding item, in which case the right click is no longer wasted. Now when you have something out, say the sword and the ender pearl, for instance, it means that the left click or the main kind of hitting button is going to allow you to hit stuff, and the right click is going to activate the ender pearl. So to put that in console terms, when you use the right trigger, it's going to activate your hitting weapon or your axe or whatever, and then if you use your left trigger, it's going to be the second use, which could be a block. Like, you can do a bunch of different things with this, including just have an awkward block there. So we hit and then we place a block. You can you hit and then you place a block. It's something you can entirely do, and that is how that works. So there is your main hand, and then there is your offhand. Your offhand only works if your main hand doesn't have a right click function. So I'll just show you one more example here. If we have, say, an ender pearl and then we have a splash potion, even though these both activate on the right click, the ender pearl takes precedent because it is in my main hand. Anyway, yeah, that's everything said and done. Let's get straight into talking about the best combinations for it, shall we? Because, some people are kind of like, so what is the best one? So, one of the really cool ones we'll start with here, I guess, then, because it's already out. It's actually going to be the sword and the potion. Before this update, you had to switch out from your sword temporarily to hit people with the potion. Now you can be hitting people and then just suddenly, throw it forwards and do that, which is, handy not only for potions where you have to hit other people, which can be done in combat, but also handy for where you need to hit yourself, because if I needed to jump boost myself and then, jump out here, so let's say we need to get over to there, for instance, that's something we can entirely do, by just throwing it behind us and running at the same time. It means that you might be able to save yourself from combat if it's potion reliant, and I think as a result of this, potions are going to become a lot more kind of combat, useful, because even though you use it once and then it's kind of gone, I think it is a super valuable thing to have in there, just instantly available to use. And yeah, now you can kind of have like the one stored potion. You can throw other stuff in there, but that is that. So that is the first combination I'm going to talk about. The second one is actually to do with putting torches in there and using this for mining. So when you go mining before, again, you had to use your pickaxe, then you had to switch out to the torch. Now mining has gotten so much easier and a little bit more fun, in my opinion. At least maybe that's at least my thoughts on it, because now when you go mining, you have obviously the pickaxe in your main hit slot, and then you have torches in the other slot. And it means that what you can do is you can mine like this, and then when it gets too dark and you realize you really need to torch, you just right click and you do it. And it means no switching out involved. You can entirely just focus on what's ahead, and it means it's safer. It means it's, again, I think it's more fun, but that's just me, and I think it's just a very, very useful little thing. So first one is going to be sword and a potion. Second one is pickaxe and torch. The third one, though, and perhaps the most useful, because it's even better for escaping than a sword and a potion, in my opinion, is going to have to be the sword and the ender pearl. The ender pearl, as I've said many times, is what I think is the most powerful PvP item in the game, because it allows you to get to someone. So let's say there's someone at that door, we can get straight to them instantly and start hitting them as soon as we're there. But as well as being able to get to people, we can get away from people. So someone's attacking me from here, boom, suddenly we go back into them, and boom, we're over there in a second. There's just so many really powerful combinations of using the ender pearl, and basically one of the things you might want to look into is having this in your offhand slot at all times, just to keep yourself safer, because as long as you have a decent amount of armor, like enough to not die in 2 or 3 hits, it means you really have no reason to die while you're doing this, because you hit them and you're suddenly running away and you're over here. So yeah, super, super handy. Sword ender pearl is perhaps my favorite, to be honest, because it is super, super good. One that I think people will like a little bit better than the ender pearl, because I know not everyone loves it as much as me, is the sword and the bow. That's right, this is something people have wanted for a long time, but now you can have a sword in your in your main hand, and you can have a bow in your left hand, and they do both work at the same time, which, as you can imagine, is super, super good. So unfortunately there's no quiver, so while you're doing this, you can't pick which arrows you fire. You just have to kind of sort them in your inventory in a way, but it does mean that still you're going to be doing some really cool stuff like this because you're hitting people. Oh, and then suddenly its range come back again, they're running away. You hit them with the bow and they're dead that way. So I think, you know, running away from people is going to be less of a big deal. And I think this will probably be the dominant combination online. You know, like if you play any form of like Hunger Games, Skywars, mini games like that, you're going to get the sword and the bow, and it's probably going to dominate quite a bit. But yeah, we'll have to see how it actually plays out. The sword and the bow, though, for any form of PvP, it just makes sense, right? Like, hit people from a distance, hit them at close, and there's no real downside to the whole thing. So yeah, that is the fourth most powerful combination. Well, one of the four, I guess I should say. These were just really cool things. The fifth one is actually to do with the axe, because the axe, as I've mentioned a million times, and that people hate, is actually more powerful than the sword in Minecraft 1.9. So here they both have sharpness 5, it's less of a big difference. Here you can see diamond sword, 10 attack damage, diamond axe, 12 attack damage. It also, though, has a lot less attack speed, which means you hit, then it takes a long time to fully back up, and then hit again. So what's the good combination for this? If you put a shield of this, you can kind of play the tank role, where you block almost all the time, you take massively less damage, and then you hit, and then you wait, and you block, and you hit. And you can do this every single time, and let it charge up, and this means that if someone uses a sword against you, you can kind of dominate them with the axe, if you do this just right, because again, you hit, and then you block, and then you hit, then you block, and you should be able to, you know, use this to your advantage, and perhaps win PvP. So yeah, axe and shield, I think works better than sword and shield, because swords, you know, you really don't have that much time to block, whereas the axe you generally need to block for a decent amount of time between hits, and it's something worth bearing in mind. So yeah, that is another super powerful combination. The one that I think is going to be, again, it's a super handy one that I think might overtake the sword and bow, is going to be, you know, for PvP, for fighting dragons, for fighting the Wither. It's going to be sword in your main hand, and then, you know, good food, whether it's pork chops, whether it's golden carrots, whatever good food you have in your other hand, even a golden apple maybe, because basically when you're doing this, you can hit people, hit people, and then you can immediately regenerate by doing this. And what's the benefit of that, you might ask? You might think, why do we even need to do that? So let's take some damage, so we can immediately show this off, because we're going to need to lower our hunger. Basically, now, the way the hunger system works is if you are at full saturation, your health bar goes up much faster, which means if you always have high saturation food in your offhand slot, it means you can hit people, and when you start taking damage, you just eat, and then boom, you're just going up super fast, and it's basically like having the regeneration effect from a golden apple, but on all the time, and you're also keeping your food up so you can sprint, do all this stuff, and I think this is a really, really powerful combination, maybe more so for single player fights. Again, it was so handy for fighting the Ender Dragon, you know, when I did it in the 1.9 Let's Play, and I think you will find it super handy for any PvE or even some PvP situations. So yeah, 6 powerful combinations. The pickaxe and the torch, great for going mining. The sword and the potion is great for if you need a specialized effect. It's just so much better than before. Sword and ender pearl is the best way to get in and out of combat while still being entirely protected. The ender pearl and food doesn't make too much sense. But then we've got sword and bow. It's the probably dominant one online, but we'll have to see about that. Axe and shield is an amazing kind of way to just play the tank role, like being a tank is now a thing. And then finally, sword and food is a great way for encounters. So yeah, 6 different dual combinations that will really help you out. Hopefully one of those did inspire you in some way. If not, hopefully you learned something about dueling in here. If you did, I'd very much appreciate a like on the video if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and lets me know you do like the Minecraft 1.9 stuff, and maybe want to see more. I've just been playing around with the update a lot, so yeah, if you want to see more, let me know. But other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.